first of which is what is addressed to Brian. Brian, what differences do you see between a private fund and a public fund? Now, these questions, you can turn to slides 9 to 12 for reference.
Thanks. Generally, a private fund is exactly that. It is a partnership set up by the general partners, and each limited partner is essentially invited in and or given a slot to be able to invest. So in the private funds, by and large, there are some criteria that are set up for the investors, the number of investors, their qualifications, being accredited investors. In a public fund, it is in essence a security that is out there, open to the public, that can be bought and sold, not necessarily or exclusively at the direction of the general partner or the leaders of the fund, but also through some third party, an investment bank or whatever.
Okay, thank you. So relative to the reporting requirements need to be made to mutual fund investors, how much information must private funds provide to their investors? Maybe, John, you can address this question.
Well, less. I also wanted to overlay a couple of things on top of what Brian said, if I could.
Sure.
So another difference between a private fund and a public fund, a private fund and a mutual fund, if you will, is as a practical matter, most mutual funds invest primarily in publicly traded securities. I'm generalizing.
Right.
Most PE and VC funds invest in assets other than publicly traded securities. Hedge funds, on the other hand, which are very flexible, they tend to do it all. They tend to invest, as a matter of fact, in publicly traded securities. But when they do, among other things, the investing style of a hedge fund, when it invests in publicly traded securities, it couldn't look more different than when a mutual fund does it. They're taking on much greater risk in order to achieve much greater returns. I don't know if those are just a couple of other distinctions.
Right. Right, and the reporting requirements are generally substantially less for a private fund rather than a mutual fund, who has to provide a prospectus and much more disclosure to their investors, given the investor base that it's a public investment rather than. But
that's to highlight what, and Jonathan's right. To highlight that again, there are requirements of reporting, certainly in public funds, and then there are. In a private fund, in one sense, the requirements are embedded within the document which you sign up for. Some people may choose to be a lot more transparent and forthcoming with a lot of things. So, again, it's the difference between the public and the private is some of it is choice. So some things you absolutely have to do, and it's out of your choice. But in the private fund, you may choose to do everything in the world.